Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lawn Fawn Fans quarterly video hop. This fall hop will feature both fall cards and Christmas theme cards using, of course, our favorite company, Lawn Fawn. We are going to be bringing you a lot of inspiration. The next person in the hop will be linked in the description box below. Here's a look at some of the products that I'm using on my card today. These next products are from the recent release, the Snow Flurries backdrop, as well as the Ugly and Bright stamp set. I thought that these would make a beautiful Christmas card, so let's jump right in. I have stamped my images onto Copic Express It paper. I used Memento Tuxedo Black ink because that is Copic marker friendly. And I have left the caps up on the screen so you can see exactly which colors I'm using. I went with a more traditional card, so I have reds and greens, a little bit of gold. For this card, I did something a little bit different. I typically color from dark to light, but instead I decided to, for whatever reason, maybe because the images were smaller, I don't know what I was thinking and why I did this, but I laid down a layer of my lightest color first over the large areas, and then I added my shadows and went back over it with my light color again to do a little bit more blending. For my bear, I am going to create a brown bear, and then I will also color up my fox. This is some pretty quick coloring, so while I'm doing that, let me talk about this giveaway. Our friend Neha, who is part of this hop, she owns Crescent Creation and has generously offered a $25 gift card. If you haven't checked out her store, she has a ton of products. Obviously, she has a YouTube channel and she does sell Lawn Fawn. So we want to thank Neha so much for being so generous and offering up a gift card for this hop. How do you win that? In order to participate and be qualified to win the gift card, you do need to leave a comment and like the video. The more times that you stop at a channel and watch the video, leave a comment and like, that is an entry. So if you stop at 5 channels and leave 5 comments and 5 likes, you have 5 entries into the giveaway. The winner will be announced over at all of the channels. Actually, I will leave the information for the winner in my community section. The winner will be announced on October 23rd, so you have until the 22nd to follow along and enter. I will have the next person's video linked in the description box below. I don't know about you, but I tend to get lost sometimes when I am hopping along, so I will also have not only all of the participants that are hopping today, but I will also have a link to all of the products that I've used in my video today. So here I'm coloring up my bear. I decided to go with a brown bear. I kind of thought a little bit about going with a black bear, but I chose to go with a more traditional brown bear, and I'm using my E50 markers. This little stamp set I thought was just adorable. Not only does it come with several, I'm not going to call them ugly sweaters, but you know, these types of sweaters are typically worn to ugly sweater parties, but I decided to go ahead and use this because I thought the sweaters were absolutely adorable. The sentiments are fabulous. There are some very small sentiments, which makes it sometimes when it's hard to get a sentiment on the front of a card. This having small sentiments really helps you to tuck it in another place. And then there are little hats and a speech bubble. I didn't use the hats or the speech bubble, but I decided to go with that giant Merry Christmas instead because I wanted something that was just a little bit more sparkly. I don't know about you, but I'm always excited about the Fall Lawn Fawn release because it does seem to be the largest release out of all of them. It does have that combination of fall and Christmas, and because of where our hop was falling this year, we decided to just kind of do a combination and include both. If you haven't hopped along with us before, we do create videos on a quarterly basis. So we have one for each season, and there's a group of us that do this, and it's just so much fun. It's a great way to get all of us to pull out more of our Lawn Fawn products, especially when there's new releases, and share inspiration with you. So we want to thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope that you enjoy the hop. I'm going to move along right now, and I'm going to glue my sweaters onto my little critters. I did use my brother's Scan and Cut to cut out my items. I don't have the coordinating dies, so the little fox's hand kind of got messed up there, and I thought that in order for me to camouflage that instead of recoloring it, I was going to go ahead and make these two best friends, and as you can see, they're gonna hold hands. I like to mention, so I have cut out 2 of the giant Merry Christmas from white cardstock. I also cut out a 3rd one using some champagne colored glitter cardstock. Now when you're cutting with glitter cardstock, I do want to warn you, if you have the kind like I do that kind of has a thicker back to it, you do need to run it through your die cutting machine with a shim and run it through a couple of times. I'm going to use that same champagne glitter cardstock for the Snow Flurries backdrop, and I had to do the same there, but I did want to mention that it did cut beautifully. I didn't have any issues with it cutting through this paper. So I just wanted to mention that while I'm putting this together. I wanted to offset the glitter cardstock from the white cardstock, so I added the champagne glitter cardstock Merry Christmas over the top to the left and shifted it down just a little bit so that I had that shadow kind of offset look behind it. Here I wanted to add some color. I have a piece of, or actually I have a top folding red card base. I added some Festive Berries Distress ink to darken it up, and then I'm adding this black soot. This is going to give it just a little bit of a kind of a moodiness. I really like adding that black soot when I'm using colored cardstock, and I'm going to use my glue to add that Snow Flurries backdrop over the top. So that black soot is going to be very subtle behind it, give it a nice little shadow, and isn't that Snow Flurries backdrop stunning? I just loved the way that Lawn Fawn came out with not only these beautiful detailed dies, but they also came out with some hot foiling, which I need to get to shortly. So I promise that I will share a card using their hot foil plate, but I just couldn't pass up using this Snow Flurries backdrop with some glitter cardstock. I did cut and color the Christmas garland. This is from, maybe last year's release. I love this. This is one of my favorite dies from Lawn Fawn. I love flowers and I love garland and creating swags. So I thought that it would be a nice element to go across the top of this card. I centered my Merry Christmas. The C wasn't sticking down on that cardstock, so I needed to use my reverse tweezers to hold it in place for just a moment. This is going to be slightly larger, as you can see, than an A2 size card, so I will need to use a little bit bigger of an envelope for this. I used the same green markers that I used on the sweaters for my swag. I made sure to leave white space because I just think it's really pretty when you have that little bit of white space along with the green. For the bow, I did use that same gold combination, so it's a, I think it's a Y28 and maybe a 24 or 26 marker. And again, I left white space on the bow. A little bit later, I do end up cutting the top of the bow again a second time because I felt like I needed a little bit of dimension there, because dimension is so important to me on cards. I don't know, there's something about it that I absolutely love. I did color the berries using the darkest red marker. I think it was an R39, and I'm going to add those to the little garland branches, and then I'm going to add my fox and my bear holding hands underneath that. And I just think that this is a really fun, because we do have the little critters on the card, but it's also a very elegant card with the detail from the snow flurries backdrop and the garland. I think that this is just absolutely beautiful with a little bit of a cute element. And as I mentioned, I am going to bring in that last piece of the bow, bring another piece back in, and that will finish off my card for today. So I wanted to keep this pretty fast so that you can make sure that you make it through all of the channels that are participating in the hop. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my card and my video, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thanks for watching.